I'm super excited to be joined by Robert Jones Black, founder of Generation Next Project, an organization to help strengthen the mental and emotional development of young people by using the game of golf. Robert, thank you so much for joining me.
Honored and excited to be here, Sam.
Let's just jump right into it. Obviously, your great grandpa is Bobby Jones, the legendary Bobby Jones, one of the most influential figures in golf and co-founder of the Masters tournament. How did growing up knowing that he was your great grandfather kind of influence the way you view the game of golf, especially, but just life in general?
It's a great question, and I think an honest answer to it is it probably was not until adulthood that I really understood the full picture. I understood growing up, even through like high school, that he was a major impact in the game itself. And then I think you start kind of understanding as well his intelligence level, how he was really known for his character, his integrity, his honor, and everything. And so I think as an adult was when I really started seeing the true value of what he had done. And that actually helps you connect to your great grandfather a little bit because my golf game does not connect me to Bobby Jones. But I started feeling an obligation and a responsibility to live life very similar to how he did, to treat people well, to always handle things with character, with the ability to have a level mind. And one of the biggest things about Bobby Jones is he had, at the time, an unknown ability of connecting what he was learning playing the game of golf to how that really shows up in life. 100 years ago, you didn't talk about mental health. There weren't classifications and definitions to it. But if you look at how he wrote and what he talked about with the correlation between the two, it is so relevant to today's world with the mental health epidemic that we're dealing with.
When you're playing through a group, maybe they're going slow, so you play through. That's when I get the most first tee jitter. So I can definitely see how you can use that through
It's
life.
what a great example too, because what do we tend to do if we're passing through, if we're being waved through by a group? You play fast, you speed up, you change your process, you might shorten or eliminate a pre-shot routine. All of these things, all because we're saying to ourselves, we're being a burden on them, or I fear making a bad shot. I want them to think I'm a good golfer. And all of those just two shots before as you were approaching the group didn't exist in your mind. And that's what changed. It's the only thing that changed in the environment was how you were perceiving that specific scenario. It's such a great example. And Sam, I'll tell you, nothing. I think that's probably one of my biggest fears on the golf course is being waved through. It's
Yeah.
tough. It is so hard.
Obviously, why we're here, we've partnered up to auction off some once in a life golf opportunities to raise money for the greater good. Kind of a two questions in one. How has working with Member for a Day made a positive impact on Generation Next? And how awesome is it that you guys can raise money by allowing other people to have these fantastic golf experiences?
It's such a great question, and when I learned about Member for a Day, the first thing that I initially thought of was like, okay, well, it's great. It's an auction platform, but what we have already always struggled with is audience. So we're a young, new organization, and I have some incredible people in my network that are in the golf industry, and that's fantastic. But it's so hard to really create an audience that could react to what we have access to. And what I learned about with Member for a Day was partnering with them brings in their audience that you guys have built, has brought in this Member for a Day audience. And that does two things. One, it increases the amount of activity in an auction, which is what you want. If you're a nonprofit and you're running an auction, you need to have high activity and you want to see those bids going up and up and up. But the second thing was that I saw was also it's a marketing tool for us because your audience is so much bigger than ours. That means that when we post an auction, people that are engaged in what we're putting out in terms of golf experiences are also getting a light touch to Generation Next Project. And if you do that and a handful of those people actually go to the website and a handful of those people are engaged enough to want to inquire to know more, that's such a win for us. I'll say this, Sam. I think probably the biggest piece for Member for a Day versus or for a nonprofit is if we run a traditional fundraiser, the manpower associated with that, a lot of times the capital investment you've got to put on the front end of the fundraiser with your fingers crossed that you can go 20%, 30%, maybe 50% over what you spent to have as your net raise. All of that went away. For us, we go into our network, which we have some great relationships with some of the top private clubs in the country. They want to support us. The actual manpower work to make that relationship happen is nominal. Then your audience is engaged with the idea, because it's the greatest thing about the golf community is to seek unique golf experiences because they're such avid golfers that they want to go to these clubs and they will pay top dollar to get that opportunity. It's a win-win. It's a bucket list item off the list for the participant, and it's a fundraising option or opportunity for us as an organization. So it was massively helpful for us to not have to utilize a lot of manpower to be able to bring in critical dollars for us to continue our mission.
For sure. And it's just such a great idea of the whole thing, being able to support someone while also being able to play like a once in a lifetime course or somewhere you never would be able to get on. So
Yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest thing for me is I'm jealous of the winners. 'Cause
yeah.
I don't necessarily get to go out and play these courses, but we have access to them. So it's always a little, I'm happy for them that they get to go play a course that's been on kind of the to-do list for years, and they're finally getting the opportunity to do it because of what Member for a Day's created.
Kind of a fun question. What's one course you want to play in 2026 that has been on your list for a while?
That's a great question. 100% the top is Marion. I have never played Augusta National, and I kind of look at that as if that opportunity ever comes up in my lifetime. Even as great-grandson of Bobby Jones, it's an incredibly difficult, course to get access to. Maybe that happens one day, but Marion to me has so much meaning around Bobby Jones himself and the history he has on that golf course. And then on the 11th hole of that golf course, he closed out the Grand Slam in 1930. The course itself is just something that I really want to see. I've heard about its difficulty, about its greens, and it's a target course. And so I think Marion is the numero uno on my list to play, and I'm hoping I get the opportunity in 26.
The Generation Next project auction is now live. Robert, tell me a little bit about some past auctions and what we can expect from this one.
Well, I'm going to be, first and foremost, go to the auction link and see. We are traditionally very good at putting out some really unique golf experiences. So I will say historically, some golf courses that we've had in our auctions, and last year we raised $100,000 in 2 Member for a Day auctions that we did. Sankaty Head and Friars Head up in Long Island, Marion, Hamilton Farm, Bayonne, all of those up in the Northeast. We had Panther National down in Florida. We've had Old Barnwell, Diamond Creek in North Carolina, Trinity Forest out in Dallas. It's really, we try to make sure we are being geographically sensitive or aware. But I will say that this, I think, will be one of our biggest auctions to date. Stay tuned or go to the link and check it out.
Robert, thank you so much for joining me, and it's been great talking to you and learning more about Generation Next.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Member for a Day, for really helping us continue trying to achieve our mission.